All right, let's talk about something that gets people talking, the clothes women wear. It's this whole complicated mix of fashion, personal choice, and, well, a whole lot of judgment. We're going to get into it. So let's just dive right in with the big, provocative question that always seems to start the argument. Now, this is a seriously loaded question, right? It makes a ton of assumptions. But to really unpack this whole thing, we've got to start here. Okay, so what are we really talking about here? Let's break down what people actually mean when they throw around a term like self-objectification. So, the idea basically goes something like this. A woman picks out a certain outfit because, deep down, her main goal is to be looked at. That's it. It suggests she's turning herself into an object for others and that her value is all tied up in how she looks. But as you're about to see, that is an incredibly simplistic and frankly incomplete way of looking at things.
But is it really that simple? Is that the whole story? Of course not. When you actually dig into why people choose the clothes they do, the picture gets way, way more complicated.
See, this whole self-objectification argument, it's built on this one single massive assumption that every clothing choice is really just a performance for other people, and specifically for men. It just completely ignores her own internal world, her motivations, her feelings, all of it. And this is where that assumption just completely falls apart. I mean, look at all these reasons. The reality is women get dressed for a million different reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with getting attention. It could be about just wanting to be comfortable or needing to look a certain way for work. Maybe it's about expressing who you are or where you come from. Or maybe, just maybe, it's as simple as feeling confident and liking how you look. It's about personal choice, not public approval. And here's the real irony in all of this. When you accuse a woman of self-objectifying because of her clothes, you're doing the exact same thing you're claiming to be against. You are reducing her down to nothing more than her appearance. You're ignoring everything else about her mind, her reasons, her agency, and focusing only on her body. All right, to really get this, we've got to zoom out a bit, because what you or I think is revealing or appropriate isn't some universal fact. Nope, it's totally shaped by where we are and when we are. Just think about it for a second. Go back about 150 years in the West. Showing an ankle was a big deal, totally scandalous. Meanwhile, you can look at traditional dress in many indigenous cultures that might seem revealing to some today, but that clothing is packed with deep, powerful cultural meaning. It just proves that these rules are made up. They change over time and across cultures. They are not set in stone. And this, right here, is probably the most important piece of the whole puzzle. Agency, the power of choice. So instead of being so obsessed with how others might see a woman, what if we shifted our focus to how women see themselves? And you know what's really interesting? There's no single right answer, not even within feminism. For some women, choosing to dress more modestly is actually a powerful act of rebellion. It's a way of rejecting society's constant focus on their bodies. But for others, wearing whatever they want, no matter how revealing, is also an act of rebellion. It's about celebrating their bodies and taking back control. Both are totally valid paths, and they both center on one thing: a woman's right to choose for herself. And that thought just completely flips the whole script, doesn't it? Imagine you've spent years feeling insecure or even ashamed of your body because of all the pressure out there. Well, in that context, putting on something that shows your body isn't about asking for anyone else's approval. It's a deeply personal act of self-acceptance. It's a way of saying, you know what? This is me, and I'm okay with that. Okay, so where do we go from here? How do we get past all these simplistic and often pretty harmful judgments? Well, it really requires a pretty fundamental shift in how we look at the whole issue. A lot of this criticism is really about the so-called male gaze, right? About how other people might react to an outfit. But think about that. Putting the responsibility on a woman to manage other people's reactions, that is a classic textbook example of victim blaming. It says that if someone objectifies her, it's her fault for what she wore, not the fault of the person doing the objectifying. So what if we tried a different framework, a better one? First, we have to flip the script and put the responsibility back where it belongs, on the person who is looking. Second, we have to really support a person's autonomy, to just accept that we have no idea what their personal, complex reasons are for their choices. And finally, and this is the big one, we have to make a conscious effort to focus on a person's actual worth, their ideas, their character, their humanity, instead of their outfit. And really, that's what it all comes down to. What if we all spent a little less energy policing what women wear, and a lot more energy just respecting their right to make their own choices. When you focus on respect instead of judgment, it kind of changes the entire conversation. Thanks for tuning in.